So I've been using Google Classroom to try and set work today, and I found it a little bit unintuitive in terms of how it looks from my point of view as a teacher compared to how it looks as a student. So what I've actually done is on my own domain, I've created an account as a teacher, which is what we're looking at here. And we've also got it looking at it from a student's point of view. So the same classroom, looking at it from a teacher's point of view and a student's point of view. So we're going to go through creating an assignment and see how that looks from the student's point of view. So firstly, as the teacher, to create the assignment, we go to classwork, we go to create, and then we go to assignment. So we're going to make a test assignment here. In fact, let's give it a title. Let's do it negative numbers. And we can either add a like a link to a file, or we can create a file as part of this. Now, you can always, you can either assign it at the end straight away, or you can schedule it for later or save it as a draft. So there's no worry whatsoever in creating a document for it this way. So we're going to go and create a document. It takes a few seconds to do that, and it will open up a new tab. You might need to turn off your pop-up blocker to do that. And I'm going to give it the title here, negative numbers as well. So let's make this work. Here's what you need to do. So number one, watch this video, and we're going to put a link to a video there. Number two, do this other thing, and number three, whatever else. Okay, so we're just going to give some instructions for the students what to do, and that's in the attached document there. Now, this is where it gets interesting. There are three options here. We're going to set this document so that students can view the file, but you've got these two other options as well. Personally, I don't think students can edit the file is a good option to go for. I like students can view the file, and making a copy for each student is also really useful if you actually want them to do answers within that document and then assign that. So we'll have a look at that in just a moment. At the moment, this document, though, this is just with some instructions. Maybe they want to do some reading offline, look at a video, that kind of thing. Maybe we don't actually want them to do any work to give to us as part of that. So we're just going to set that to students can view the file. And you've got some options like points for it, and we're going to make that unmarked. Maybe you want to set a date for it. Just ignore this stuff really, and let's assign that. Now, because I said that the students can view the file, if I realize that I need to make any changes to this document, the negative numbers document, I can always go and make changes. So let's add another thing to do. Right, let's jump over and have a look at that from a student's point of view. So it says that the stream has been updated as a student. I can go and have a look at that, and I can see here's the assignment. One thing to note is over here on the right hand side, it says I've been assigned this, and I can add or create something. So if you've asked the student in your instructions to upload a document at the end of it, well, this is where they can go and create that document. Or maybe they want to attach a file they've made elsewhere. Maybe you've asked them to take a photo of their exercise book, so they can attach the photo of their exercise book on there. They can also add private comments to you as a teacher as well. So if they've got any particular questions about that, they can do that here. And there's also class comments. So that's where the whole class can talk about that assignment together. So let's, as a student, have a look at this document. And just what we thought, we've got those 4 bits of instructions there. If we go back, however, and look at it as a teacher, we suddenly realize we made a mistake in this document. We want them to do a 5th thing as well. So also do this. And we'll jump back as a student, and we can see instantly that student can see that they need to do that as well. Now, remember, we said that the student can only view this document. So they can request access to edit it. That's not really what we want here, though. The other thing is they can't comment on this document at all. There's no option to add a comment. There's this chat feature, but it doesn't seem very reliable, and I don't know if we've turned that off within our school as well. But there's no way for them to even add a comment. I think it's really useful if we let the students at least add a comment. Maybe the instructions don't make sense. Obviously, they could add comments on here as well, or they could give you a private comment. But if you do want them to comment on the document, here's how you do it. So as a teacher, you can click on this share button up here. And this is off the screen, actually. You can't quite see it, but there's an advanced option at the bottom. Now you can see who currently has access to that document. And you'll notice that the class themselves only has view access. I really like not giving them access to edit that document, but to comment on that document. So I'm going to give them access to comment on this document and save changes. Okay, again, you can't quite see that because it's off the screen, but I just made it so that the students can actually share that, actually comment on that document as well, but not edit it. Now we can go back and look at that document as a student. We might need to refresh it to see the change there. I think we do need to refresh. So in the browser, I'm just going to refresh that document. And I can now suggest changes to that document. So I can't edit it. And I can also add comments. So maybe if I'm looking at this third instruction here, as a student, I can now add a comment there and say, I don't understand, sir. Okay, so I can now add that comment as a student. And maybe if I think this is the wrong, like this word is spelt wrong, as a student, I could change that to the word that. And that's like a suggestion. So they're suggesting that change to me. Let's have a look how that looks as a teacher. So here I am looking at it as a teacher, and I can see it says, I don't understand that, so I can just reply, watch the Hecate Maths video number 34 to help. Okay, so I'm going to give them some instructions to help them. And everyone can see that, so that saves me having to give that so many times. This is why it's so useful to have a document where everyone can comment, but where we don't want them to actually edit that, because we don't actually want them changing the instructions. If I like the suggestions that they've made, I can always accept those instructions, those changes. So there we go. I've gone and done that. So remember, to do this, we had to go on the sharing option when we were as a teacher and make it so that people could comment on there. There was no option for that, annoyingly, when we set the work originally. When we set that work, when we went on the assignment, on the instructions, if we go back and look at the edit page for that, there was no option there for the students to comment on it. It was just view, edit, and when we created it, there was another option, which was to copy that document for themselves. Okay, so another thing we could do, though, is we could attach, if we wanted to, another document. So let's attach another document to there. I'm just going to wait for that to create. And this could be like a bit more of a like a joint whiteboard. So this can be like the we call this like a shared whiteboard for the class. And if I go back to here, let's say that this one, they can edit it. So we're saying that actually there's kind of the instructions file which the students can view. And again, we gave them permission to comment. And now we've got like this shared whiteboard that they can actually edit as well. So feel free to add and edit this document to help others out in the class and to ask them for help. Okay, so that's another option that you have within this Google Classroom thing. So you make a document, one document kind of with your instructions, which is view only, possibly giving them comment access, and then maybe make another document where they can all edit that same document together. So that's one option for you. So we've now got those two different files then. Let's just save that again. Okay, we also have another option. So firstly, let's just go and have a look at this from a student's point of view. So if they refresh this document, this assignment here, they should now see these two separate files. That negative numbers, that was the instructions. Let's look at that again. That was the instructions. And then we had the shared whiteboard. So again, we gave them edit access to this one. So I find it really easy how to, let's ignore that, to blah, blah, I don't know, whatever it is they want to share with each other. And you can always look at a complete history of the file within one of these settings here somewhere. You can see a complete revision history of that file. So don't worry, you can keep track of if there's any kind of potential for bullying and that sort of thing within these. Okay, don't want to take too much longer, but let me just show you the third option as well. So we're going to make a new assignment for this one. All right, fine. Let's make a new one. I'm still as a student. Let me jump back to being a teacher. Here I am as a teacher. Let's go and make a new assignment. Now, firstly, before we do that, notice the fact there are other options in here as well. So lots of different things you can experiment with. We're just going to do a normal assignment again, though. So we're going to call it negative numbers 2. And again, look, you can do all these different kind of documents in here. We're going to do a document again, but this time, once it's finished, here's my document. I'm going to change it so that it makes a copy for each student. So we're going to change so it makes a copy. Now, if you're doing it with a copy, you do need to make sure you make all your edits first. So we're going to do 10 minus 4, negative 6 plus 3, let's say negative 5 take away 3. So whatever questions you make, you've got to finish making them now. You can't go and edit it later. As soon as a student has as soon as you've launched that assignment, that document is kind of copied, and then each student gets their own copy of that to make their answers. So you could set up the assignment like this, where you actually want them to put those in. Okay, so this was our -2 document. So we're making a copy for each student this time. And again, maybe you want to make another document in here. So you might want to have another document in here, which is your instructions, which tells them what they want to do in the other one. I'm just going to leave that blank for now, but that's always an option you've got. I'm going to go and assign that. So let's look at it from a student's point of view. Firstly, they do get emails to tell them that they've got these assignments. So when these assignments appear, unless they change their options, they do get emails telling them that. And here we go, we've got negative numbers 2. Let's go and have a look at that as a student. And we'll also compare it as a student with the negative numbers 1 assignment as well. So if we look at the negative numbers 1 assignment, you'll see it has over here an option for them to add or create work and then mark as done. Over here, because this time on negative numbers 2, we had attaching the document instead, it's already got it attached there. So they can just click on that, and then they can go and change their answers. So they don't even have to kind of duplicate the document or anything, that's already done for them. So -6 plus 3, that's -3. -4 take away 3, that's -7. Automatically save, they don't have to bother about kind of where it's saved, anything else like that. And negative numbers 2, here it is. So they've already attached that there. They can just hit hand in, and that's it. They've handed in that work to you, ready for you to mark. With this one, this is where they weren't attaching a document necessarily, and they could attach their own one, or they can just mark that as done instead. Let's have a look at how they both come in to us as a teacher. So as a teacher, let's go and have a look at classwork, and here's our negative numbers 1 and 2. It doesn't say they've been handed in yet. Oh, that one says it's been handed in. Sometimes it takes a few seconds for these to come in. And there you go, that one's been handed in as well. So let's have a look at negative numbers 1. We'll have a look at that, and we can see that test student has handed that in. So we could then go and mark that work if there is any mark. Here we're just going to say returned. So we're just going to say it's returned, which basically means we've received that document, and kind of to show it back to them if there actually was anything attached to it. If we go and have a look at negative numbers 2, which is where we had that document they could edit, and it made like a copy of the document for everyone, we can easily see their answers here. So we can see, yeah, I can check, they all look good. We can give them a mark, maybe they got 100 out of 100 here. If we wish, we can add a private comment as well, which will be emailed to them, and then we can hit return, and that will return that mark to that student. Notice we can easily jump between students. If we've got more than one student, we can easily jump between them. And over here, at the moment, it says it was, we don't know their score out of 100. And oh, it's just updated. So it now says they've got 100 out of 100 for that. And we can see that we've marked their work. Okay, so there are just some of the options within this Google Classroom. I hope that's helpful. Goodbye.